Hi everyone, this is Ina here with our masterclass on human design today. I hope everyone is having a great time and let's dive in. Human design, our strategy for success. So, the human design system, for those of you who don't know, was founded in 1987 by Ra Uru, otherwise also known as Robert Alan Krakauer, who is from Canada. And he literally received a download with the system ready as it is. I think it was about a week long, the download. And for those of you who haven't checked their human design type, you can check some of the links below or even Google, although the best size, a Jovian archive, is for checking your chart and to see what type you are. So you're going to need that so that we can get deeper into this masterclass. Now, the human design system is an amazing system that incorporates astrology, the I Ching, the Kabbalah, the Indian chakra system, and quantum physics, giving us an amazingly correct overview of our exact energetic blueprint and how we are designed to dance with the universe here. There are 4 different auras and 4 different types in human design. So 70% of the population is a generator. There are 2 types of generators. Generators are manifesting generators, but we're going to go deeper into this later. The most interesting thing about the generator aura that it is open and enveloping. And because 70% of the population is generators, you can see how we are all being affected the most by the generators and also conditioned the most by the generator and their ways. Then 22% are projectors. The projector has a very focused and absorbed aura, which works very well with the generator because the projectors can really see the efficiency of the energy of the generator and guide their energy through questions mostly. These are the best guides because they have to be invited. And the manifestor aura is closed and repelling. So 8% of the population is manifestor. So you see it's totally opposite of the generator aura. It's something to grasp if you're a manifestor, that you're a being that really values freedom and needs to get in touch with their power. Because manifestors are here to impact the world and others. And reflectors, which is only 1% of the population, have a very open chart. This is how the human design charts look, and these are some basic definitions of the types. And you can see the reflector has all their centers open, and they have a resistant and sampling aura. The reflector is here to be the barometer of this community of the world, and to reflect, and they reflect back to us the health of our community. It is a very existential type, the reflector, connected to the moon, very special beings. And here I want to show you how some human design charts look. This is a chart of a projector. You can see how this projector has only definition in the head and the throat. So this is what makes them a mental projector. But anything apart from that sacral, which is the square here in the middle, not in the middle, like the one top from the bottom. This sacral is open. This is a manifested chart. You see the sacral is open. This is a manifesting generator chart. See, the sacral is defined. So, and the projectors can have all of their centers defined, but if the sacral is open, it's still a projector. And if there is any of these solar plexus, sacral, throat, root, or willpower center, if any of these 4 are connected directly with, they have a link directly to the throat, like this one, that's what makes the manifesting, what expresses the manifesting power in the chart. So these people can either be manifestors or manifesting generators. Generators have no direct connection to the throat, like this is a manifesting generator. If it was just this one here, that would be generator. They have usually open throats, or if their throats are defined, they're not connected to a motor or one of these four centers down here. I hope that makes it a bit more clear. And this is how a reflector chart looks. You see there's hardly any, there's no center defined, there's only lines, gates, and that's why they need that strong aura, that Teflon-like aura. And so let's dive in and see about what's interesting about each type and what are their features and characteristics. Now, the reflectors, I'm starting with them because they're only 1% of the population. I don't know many reflectors, maybe 2 or 3. Maybe you know more, or you have a child or a partner or a brother or sister or a mother or father who are reflector, and that will help you to understand them better. So what's interesting about the reflectors, as you can see in their aura, there's no definition. So what really affects them the most is the moon. Here is the moon. They're here to sample and mirror and judge the environment around them. And in this way, they reflect back to us how healthy that environment is. It's a very powerful role that they have to, you know, be that guide for humanity in terms of helping humanity to see how they can sustainably live and cooperate together in a way that allows for everyone to fulfill their potential and for everyone to be the winner. It's a very amazing thing reflectors have. They, of course, have a very tricky, shall I say, strategy. So the way they're designed to dance with the universe is by waiting for 28 days or one lunar cycle before they make a decision. That's why we call them lunar beings, because they're so connected to the moon. And it's interesting to see with the reflectors. So what happens is if they rush into decisions, if they don't give themselves time, and of course, sometimes this may mean that 1 month may not be enough for them. Because what happens with the reflector is because of the openness, they're actually more affected energetically by the transits of the day. So every day we are affected by all these energies, you know, like we see each one of them crystallized in our charts. Like when I was born all these years ago, that day, on that time, that's exactly what was happening out there. So, and this happens all the time. So when the moon changes, because the moon changes signs and gates every day the reflector feels different. They don't have a day where 2 days for them are not alike. And that is why they need, in order to get clarity, they not only need to wait before they make that decision, but they also need to speak about it. And the way they speak about it is very particular. So they need to have a few people around, ideally trusted people they can use as sounding boards, although they can use many more people as sounding boards, especially if there is trust in the moment. What they're interested in is to listen to how their voice sounds or how they sound to themselves when they speak about this thing. Because when they are in the aura of different people, they also change. They totally mirror every person. And so what they need is to have this thing that they are trying to decide over the month, and in the course of this month or whatever time it takes them, to speak about it to different people and to see how it sounds to them. And eventually, because they will soundboard with many different auras, they will start seeing a pattern, and they will start seeing which way the decision is going. Is it a yes or is it a no? It's very interesting because uh, on some level, the reflector is designed to be here, our barometer. Let's say if you live in a village and if you won't live in a village or in a town, well, for a village maybe is a better example, you go and you check out their reflector. If the reflector is happy in that village, then this village is a good village to live. This is good energy. If the reflector in the village is not happy, if they're disappointed and not surprised, then this is maybe this village lacks something. They need things to improve. And the founder of Human Design, Ra, says that in the future, every company will be able to hire a reflector for one day to spend the day in their company, in their organization, in their offices. And by the end of that day, if the reflector is happy, then the company is doing well. If the reflector is miserable, maybe there's things we need to improve. So it's very important for reflectors to give themselves this time and not rush themselves into decisions, because if they rush and jump into things, they will end up disappointed. Their signature is surprise versus disappointment. And another thing that they get really disappointed with normally is because reflectors are such powerful mirrors of every person as well. When they see us, other people, when they see people, they can see their potential, and they can see 100% if we are fulfilling that potential, if we're doing our best, or if we are zapping ourselves somewhere. And they get really disappointed when they see unfulfilled potential or wasted potential. So this is the most important things for reflectors. Their aura, like I said, is resistant and sampling, and it is what protects them from the environment. So if you're a reflector, trust that you have a powerful aura, and trust that the people who are pushing you to make decisions in the moment are not for you. And trust that the universe will bring you in the right place. For you, being in the right place is the most important thing. Because that is where you meet your opportunities, and this is and you know that feeling inside. Is it surprise or is it disappointment, right? So trust that waiting and soundboarding will, talking about your decisions, will take you to the right place, to the correct place for you. Now, I've added a little bit of a marketing kind of side to this masterclass. For those of you who are entrepreneurs or doing anything business-wise where you may find it helpful to know how to market according to your own type. And I have borrowed this from a program I did on human design for business. And it's an amazing, I think it's a really good reminder for us all that we are not all here to push, push, push and to initiate like manifestors. That's only 8% of the population. So when it comes to reflectors, their role is, when it comes to marketing, is the mirror in Snow White, right? They're the mirror, and they're just showing everybody what they are. So this is all really how magnetic you are will be dependent on your environment. So make sure that you give yourself time to get to the right environment where you feel nourished, you feel fulfilled, you feel the surprise every day. It's very important for you that the people and the places around you are inspiring, are enjoyable, are really feeling like that you are in the right place. So when you are from that place, when you are doing your marketing, or when you are doing your social media or sharing about your whatever it is in your business, your tone is best to be objective, to not be biased, for you to sound fair, fairly soft, even tempered, because you come across as wise and even psychic. So and intuitive. So it's good to imbue this your tone with these as well. I've given you a few examples for content and copy. It could be things like this is what's happening on a collective level. This is how humanity is impacted by what's happening. This is what we will be feeling, let's say this season or this month. So see how that translates through your lens if it is relevant for you. And come back and let me know if it's useful. Okay, we go on to the manifester. Now, the manifester is 8% of the population, and they're the only type. These are the non-safe. Manifestors have an open sacral as well. So they're not here, just like the reflectors, to work and to work in the normal sense of the word. Like 9-to-5 jobs can be quite hard for us open sacrals, because I'm a projector, I'm also open sacral. So this is reflectors, manifestors, and projectors, because only the generator and manifesting generators have the sacral defined, and they are the only ones who are here to work in that sense of the word. We are here to find a life and to not to work hard, but to work smart, if it makes sense, because it doesn't mean that we never ever have to do any work in our life. It means that the work that we do in our lives better feel like we are enjoying it, so it doesn't feel like work, right? So the manifestor, because they have such a closed and repellent aura, it can be quite lonely inside, but they're the ones that have the freedom to initiate. What happens with them is they have an inner non-verbal silent flow, and when they are in the zone, they don't like to be disturbed. So what saves them from that is their strategy. The people who are immediately going to be affected or impacted by their actions, it's good for them to learn to inform them before they take that action, and then go and initiate. Because when they inform, even if it is just telling your partner, I'm going out to the shop for 10 minutes, to buy popcorn or whatever it is. Because if you just leave if you're a manifestor, let's say living with a generator partner, if you leave for the shop without telling your generator partner nothing, and we're just, let's say, getting ready to watch something, they're going to be absolutely distraught what happened. Because of this closed aura, nobody can penetrate a manifestor, so we don't know what's going on there. They're the X, the unknown. And so you can see how that is why people can really poke them with questions a lot. And that is not something that they don't really like, because they are not here to be asked, and they are not here to be told. They're not generators to be told what to do or asked to do something. Manifestors, this brings anger when you do that, especially too much to them, because they're dealing with the emotional signature of anger and peace. So all manifestors long for peace. And when they are in their flow, where there's no words and ideally no people, and someone comes and pokes their bubble, their creative bubble, that would bring anger out. And it's mechanical, it's not even their fault. So it's good for manifestors to learn to deal with their anger in terms of not suppress it, because suppressing your anger can make you sick. And to realize, to start kind of experimenting with that with those ideas, and particularly to allow for their closest people in their life to know that they should inform them. The manifestor's strategy is to inform, but the other types to communicate correctly with the manifestor, they should also learn to just inform the manifestors, not to ask them, not to tell them what to do. Because the manifestor has to have that option, that freedom of deciding what to do by themselves. They're the most freedom-loving being, and they're the ones who really got to be connected to their power, sense of power. They just are really powerful. That is what manifesting is. And they need to relax a little bit if they are too stuck because they can't finish many things in their life. Because the manifester is ultimately the trailblazer. Yes, the trailblazer. So they don't take it, it can be very detrimental to them if they don't live true to their type. It can really, the anger is a very volatile force and it can really make you sick. So watch out. Inform your closest people to stop asking you, to stop telling you what to do, and you start noticing. It will take time. Remember, human design takes 7 years into our experiment, at least, to kind of allow the mind to relax from being the guy, the boss, making decisions for us. And especially if you're an emotional manifestor, it can be really challenging because the emotional manifestor have access to such a big emotions that the anger can be really devastating. So, yeah, they have absolute power to impact people, and manifestors, don't be fooled if you everything that you do or say impacts others. Even if you think that it doesn't, even if you think that what you just said was just this little thing, remember, you're here to impact. And that's actually what you're really interested in, is how much impact you have. That is what you are. So, so know that you are impactful, and understand that sometimes it's just mechanics. Some people have a little bit of trouble of allowing that unknown closed aura to be. It simply is. So you have to check who your people are. And yeah, you are the most freedom and independence loving beings. And especially when it comes to children, it can be tricky because manifest the children as parents, you really want to always to teach them to ask permission, which will later teach them to inform in their life. But when they come and ask permission from you, you always have to be able to say yes. And if it's something dangerous, you have to teach them about it, but you should really not tell them no, because trust me, they will go ahead and do it anyway. They don't care about the consequences. Manifestors is, especially when they're young, they're super much more connected to their power, and you don't want to crush that in them, that independence, that freedom. So it's better to say yes and be the wise guide and have that great relationship so that they honor you, you know. Manifestors don't like doormats and don't take easily to them. So don't be one if you are raising one. Their closed and repellent aura means that hardly anything goes through. Not in terms of connection, I mean, they can be very affectionate and you can have hugs and everything. It simply is mechanics. When a manifestor moves down the road, sometimes you can see how people literally move out of your way. You know, it's an interesting thing to see. So for all open sacral types, including for the reflector, it's good for us to go to bed before we get tired, because if we go to bed exhausted, it's very hard for us to replenish our energy, and we end up in deep trouble. So try to experiment with that. I'm not saying go to bed and fall asleep at 9 o'clock. Go to bed at 8, 9 o'clock, but then lie horizontally alone in your space to release the sacral energy of the generators from the day, because 70% of them are around us all the time. And then you can do something, read something, watch something, just allow naturally for you to get tired in bed, and then drop to sleep when your body is ready. Now, if we've got the emotional authority, this goes for all types, apart from the reflector, because they have no authority. They have to sound bored and wait. So if this part of your chart is defined, This is the solar plexus. This means you have emotional authority. This is the authority that trumps all authorities. If it's in your chart, the solar plexus defined, then you're emotional regardless of your type. And what this means is that for emotional people, they need time to process things. 50% of people are emotional. So emotional people, every day they ride a wave. One day they're on the high wave, or the other day they're on the low wave. And so if you start making decisions every time you're feeling good, the next day you're going to regret them because you feel different. You have to give yourself a few days, ideally. Ideally, you can even sleep on things, or the body can take different time for different people to take you to a place where you feel like you've decided, the decision is clear. Because what you are waiting for is not mental clarity, it's emotional clarity. So you need to live on your own time, ideally play hard to get, especially if you're open sacral type. And see people 3 times in person before you commit to an intimate relationship with them, and make sure it starts correctly for your type. Obviously, manifestors, it's correct for them to initiate their relationships, even if they are women. Okay. Now we are moving to the marketing archetype for the manifestor, and that's the revolutionary. Of course, you are here to take us all ahead. So it's all about just doing it, being confident in whatever your marketing is, and you remaining authentic. Do not hold back in your expression, however. Your tone is something that will be good for you, is to be unapologetic, impactful. You're not begging, you're here to tell them how it is. You're to be courageous and certain, bold and succinct. So the content copy for a manifestor would look something like, just letting you know this is how you can join me, or I have these 3 things to tell you. So a bit more like informing style, but with those attributes. Great. And let me know if you have any questions. Now we are moving on to the generator. Now the generator is about 35 to 37% of the population. And the difference between the generator and the manifesting generator is that the generator does not have the throat defined or connected to one of these 4 centers. So what this means for a generator is that they have the sacral defined, they have an open throat. So they produce their own energy. They have this energy every day, their sacral churning. When they do something they love, they can work on it for hours. They seem to have endless supply of energy in those situations, and they're here to really do what lights them up, and in turn light up others in the world around them. So it's very important, if you're a generator, to not do stuff that you hate, because you will feel frustration. And your strategy is to respond. So what this means is, for a generator, every generator has those, I call them grunts, but they are specific sounds that come from the body. And it is when a simple question is asked to you, let's say, is it daytime outside, or is it nighttime, or are you sitting, or you're standing? Listen to these questions from the outside, like I'm asking them now, and hear what the body is saying. Are you standing up? If you're standing up, you'll probably say something like, mm-hmm. If you are sitting down, you'll probably something like, mm-mm. So your yes and no will be similar to those. I have a generator partner, so what he does is, for yes, he goes, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, sometimes. And for no is, mm-mm. So find yours, and this is your GPS. This is what it means to respond. Something happens, it can be a bird singing, doesn't have to be a person talking, and you respond to it. And the response by response, so the difference is, if you listen to your mind and your mind tells you, oh, nothing's happening, there's nothing to respond to, we have to go do that, this is your mind leading you. And if your mind leads you to something, that your sacral hasn't, your body hasn't responded to it. What happens with generators is you tend to quit very quickly in the beginning because your sacral hasn't been asked and it hasn't given you its energy to do that thing. So that's why generators sometimes are called quitters in human design, because of that capacity. But frustration is big, and we've all been conditioned to listen to the mind. So it is important for you to know that there is another way, that it takes time to get used to the mind. But for a generator, it's pretty easy in terms of the fact that once you grasp that and once you experiment with it, you can be awakened in an instant and see how it works and what actually brings you more satisfaction in your life. Because with your open and enveloping aura, you can be very sensitive to external environment. So that is your protection mechanism, is listening to the sacral. And if you're not emotional, 50% of the generators are not emotional, they're sacral. It means in the moment your sacral can hum yes or no, am I lit up or not? And try to make sure that you are lit up 100%, so that you don't say yes to opportunities that are less than ideal for you. I know it takes trust and it takes courage, but I promise you, you can get there if you slowly start changing the authority from your mind to your body. Your body will lead you to where you are bound to be. And one more thing I wanted to add for generators is that you have a stair-step learning way, which is you up level and you hit a plateau. You learn something, you hit a plateau. And then on this plateau, you need that time on the plateau to integrate what you've just up leveled. So during the time on the plateau for a generator, because the mind's so quick, it wants constantly stimulation or something to happen, frustration may kick in. And he goes, oh, nothing's happening, nothing's happening. Actually, if you realize that frustration can be a sign of a breakthrough for you, because that's how it works, if you just hold on, the next up level comes, the next level up presents itself. So it's something for a generator to grasp. And I hope you do. Now, the difference with the manifesting generator is that manifesting generators have that extra motor to the throat. So they have this extra manifesting energy, but their aura is still one of a generator. So they're about 33% of the population. And that makes them really capable, really amazing, can be superhuman in their ability to create and to move fast and to complete things. Now they have to note that manifesting generators, they have this faster way of doing, usually. I'm generalizing here for all manifesting generators. But the thing is that manifesting generators have a tendency to skip steps in their fast way of going. So with the manifesting generators, they have exactly the same strategy I said for the projectors. They're here to wait for something to respond to, not go lead with their mind. So when something like this happens and they jump into something with their mind and don't listen for don't wait for the body to give them the energy to do it, they tend to they're much more resilient than the generator, so they tend to stick with this thing. And almost towards the end, someone challenges them and says, oh, but you skipped a few steps, or you skipped a step, and then they quit towards the end. So that's the biggest difference between generators and manifesting generators. Manifesting generators quit towards the end if they haven't entered correctly. So this is why it's important for them to remember all generators tend to say yes more than is needed and deplete themselves. So watch out what the sacral truly has energy to commit to. And we're going to go deeper into classes only for generators. We're going to see exactly how your sacral works, if that's something that you're interested in. And and remember, you're here to do what lights you up, and if you have the courage to stay and wait until the thing that lights you up 100% turns up, and if you have the courage to say no to all the 70, 60, 80%, it's like, no, 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 I'm waiting for my thing, it will come. But if you're saying yes to every 70% opportunity that's coming to you, that's the kind of that's what is going to come to you, because that's the message you're giving the universe. That's okay for me. I'm lowering my standards in a way. So very inspirational, very impactful. And they have a dual strategy, actually, still to respond. But before they start taking the action, it's good for them to inform again those people who are going to be directly impacted by their actions. Because of that, that what this motor to the throat gives you is actually this extra speed, and the people in your life may not be prepared for it, and they still may see you as that alien being that, you know, is just moving and doing stuff we don't know what they're doing. And remember, as a manifesting generator, you have that part of the manifestor where you have your own non-verbal creative flow, which also, if someone breaks your bubble during it, your signature is dual. You have the generator signature and the manifestor signature. So you're not dealing just with anger, with frustration, you're dealing with anger as well. And on the other side, we have peace and satisfaction. So it's good to understand that what may trigger anger for you is when you are in your flow and someone comes in and interrupts you. So tell the people around you when you are getting into your flow what you're going to be doing, so that inform basically, so that you don't have that extra anger. So remember, when your gut responds to something with energy, when you feel the excitement, when desire, this goes for generators too, this is your indication that you've come across something that is correct for you. You know, you feel it. And if you are emotional, obviously you listen to your sacral response, and then you note it, and then you see if it stays the same over the next day or for as long as is needed. Very open and enveloping aura, just like the generator. And when it comes to marketing, you are the talk show radio host. Natural magnetism lies in the endless life force energy of the sacral center that is correctly responding to things that light you up. I forgot to mention that for generators, it's good to get exhausted before going to bed for having good sleep. So that's something to note. Because that is how you are designed. So if you have a partner who is with an open sacral, you are living on different rhythms, and your partner, if they start living on your table schedule, they're going to get exhausted very soon. So it doesn't mean that your partner can never join you later in the evening, but it doesn't have to be every day, every night. So here is very important for you to be lit up, because the talk show radio host, what is this? This is when you're commenting, and this is both for generators and manifesting generators. When you are commenting, because you are here to respond to external stimuli, so when you see something happening out there and you comment on it, that is really correct for you. It's I can give you an example with Oprah Winfrey. Oprah she's a generator, and that's what she does. She invites people in her show, and all she does is she talks to them and responds to them. It's perfect for a generator. The tone here needs to be opinionated, comedic, passionate, fiery, and intense. And content copy can be something like with strong agreements, it's totally right, yes, 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 or strong disagreement, this is absolutely wrong. Basically share your comments, right? What you see out there, and share what comes back to you. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that. And now we come to the projector. Of course, I'm a projector, and I usually put the projector first, but I thought I'll save us for last this time. Now, projectors are very special beings, very existential, similar to the reflector, but not quite, because we do have some definition. We don't have an open sacral. We don't have connection, the throat connected to a motor like the generator, which makes us a very, very different kind of birdie. So we are the natural guides of the world, and we see things in way that others can't see. Uh, and our deepest desire is to be recognized for what our unique gifts are and to share our guidance with the world. Now, when we go ahead and share this, whatever it is, unsolicited advice with others without being asked to do so, what happens is we get bitter and the other person doesn't listen to us, never takes the advice anyway. Once they have asked us for it, once we have been invited to share, this is when our magic unfolds and we can have an incredible impact. And our impact is the best when we are one-on-one. One-on-one is our strength. So if you have kids, remember, the minute it's more than just the two of you, they don't listen. None of us open sacral beings are made for the group, which in human design we call penta, between 3 and 5 people. So the penta is a totally different animal because there's different rules that apply there, and we literally, our designs disappear and only certain things stay, and it's a very different game. It's a game changer. So for projectors, know that your power is on one-on-one, and we like to stay outside of groups or on the edge of groups. And we are really good in a group if we are the leader of the group, if we have been invited to lead the group. So our strategy, because of that, is waiting for the invitation. And they say that waiting for the invitation is only for the big things like work, love, a place to live. But it is important for us projectors to know that everything works out better for us in our life if we wait before we speak first. It can be really tricky and challenging, especially for people with defined throats like me. I am a splenic projector, by the way, 2-4 splenic projector with only the throat and the spleen defined with the channel of the wavelength, which is 4816. So we have the most diverse type of types, if I can say so, because projectors have 5 different authorities, like generators can only be sacral or emotional. Manifestors can be splenic, ego manifestors, or emotional manifestors, but projectors can be, additionally to emotional, splenic, and ego, they can be also self-projected or mental projected, or mental projectors. And so it's a very different array of projectors, right? And how we know what is true for us. But ultimately, our strategy is the same for all of us, is waiting for the invitation. No magic happens for no projector until they sit on the bottom and shut up. I know it's not an easy thing to hear, but when you do that, because the thing for us, what makes it is the waiting. And you have to understand this strategy is not made to, at first when I found out I was a projector, I didn't really like it. But this is not designed so that we are put down. This is designed to actually protect us. Because if you think about the projector, we have this aura. It's a very focused aura. And where does it focus? Directly in the G center, in the identity center. Yeah, the G center. So the person can feel really naked just in our aura, let alone if we start speaking, we totally overwhelm them. So the other thing is, when we are focusing in, our aura is focusing in, there's nothing we can do about it, we remain very open to the conditioning that is there. So if we are in the aura of someone that is not correct for us, and we know if they're not correct for us, if we're not feeling recognized, then that aura acts like poison to us. It literally poisons our aura. And we start feeling bitter because we are dealing with bitterness and success. And it's very different. So bitterness is very, very deeply disturbing for the system, for our body, and it leads to a lot of chronic illness if we allow it to continue, if we stay in places where we are not recognized. And if we try to work like generators, that is why projectors need a lot more rest and a lot more different work schedule. And I know we live in a world where the majority of us are conditioned to live as generators, and I used to live as a generator too. Of course, I burned out a lot every 6 months. I couldn't even make 2 weeks working in some generator jobs without falling sick for a week. And that taught me a lot. Of course, I am splenic, which means intuition is my authority. So my intuition led me to many things that were correct for me. But without knowing, my mind always wanted to go there where I wasn't wanted or recognized. And eventually, I realized that is just a waste of energy, and we don't have so much energy to waste it. So, and that is why we are such beautiful energy guides, is because we amplify with our open sacral the energy of the generators. And so we know very, very well what it means. But that also can make us super slaves, because with an open sacral, we don't know when enough is enough. And we can just go on and on and on until exhaustion, which is very dangerous for us, because bitterness can be a sign for us projectors that we are exhausted, that we haven't rested, apart from not recognized. It can be a sign for many things. So waiting doesn't mean that we just sit around and we put our hands like this and we wait. No, waiting means that we are enjoying our life to the point that we can. We are engaging, doing things for ourselves that are nurturing for energy, honing our skills, doing things that we are passionate about. Projectors are not really here to be told what to do. So if you have a projected child, it's good to teach them that it's okay for them to rest. They don't need to do like the other kids, and teach them that, and ask them for their advice, ask them for their opinion. We love being asked. And I think that the parents can do a real great service to their projected children when they start helping them with their initial invitations in life. I realized that that's what my mother was doing for me and my father, even though we didn't know about human design. But in my early life, all my opportunities came from invitations that I received through my parents, who brought me out into the world. And I'm very grateful for that, because that really helped me to, and I did study, because projectors are really good at systems, and it's good for us to study when we're young, so we can master a system which can help us then be guides. I know I'm talking generalized, so if you're a projector and you don't recognize yourself as a guide, be patient, still do your experiment, still try your strategy, experiment with your strategy, see where it leads you. Because if we trust our aura, the minute we bring our aura into the space, the people just want to invite us. So what we need then to be very discerning about who we say yes to listen to our authorities next. So maybe I'll do the next masterclass on our authorities to find out how we each are exactly designed to make decisions. So trust your aura. It's amazing. And over time, the more you learn about yourself and the more you experiment with this information, you will see how you're going to start loving being a projector. And you're not going to start seeing these things as limiting, but as freeing. Because why go and follow the mind into where we are not wanted or we are not asked? Why? When we can stay here and wait for the people to plug into us, because we are like this, walking around with this focused aura like a plug, and we're looking for sockets to plug into us. Okay. So the projector who is needy, who is constantly going and asking for the invitation, is like this socket and is going around and is just plug into me, plug into me, plug into me, and everybody's like, no, no. But the projector who has waited, who has realized not to follow their mind, who is working on upping their frequency, is like this socket is walking around and these like the and all the plugs want it's like this plug walking around and all the sockets want to plug into them, and then you just go, not you, not you, not you, okay, you. Now, projector, before we go into the marketing, it's very important for you to sleep alone and to go to bed before you are tired to release the sacral energy. And remember, also spending time in nature is very nourishing for you. So the guide is the projector marketing archetype. Our natural magnetism comes from this innate ability to understand people, to understand systems. And we become magnetic by mastering something specific and demonstrating our wisdom in this area. That's the general rule. So when you are doing your marketing, when you're posting, when you're doing business as a projector, remember doing less is always more for you. If you try to be a generator, you'll just burn out and you'll be super bitter that no one's coming to your programs or whatever. So I see it that way. When I'm doing this kind of stuff, I just detach from any expectation, and I only do it when I feel super passionate about it and energetic and energized and like I love doing it. I do this no matter what. So that's kind of the attitude we really works for us projectors. And then our tone can be wise, strategic, relatable, understanding, efficient, helpful. These are all very good adjectives for us. And our copy can look something like, I walk this path. This is what I've learned, sharing from our own experience. Or these are the insights from my experience. This is what I am seeing. So that is the general guideline for the marketing. I hope you like it. And remember, so I really love paying attention to the intention behind my actions. So what is your intent for doing that? So make sure that all your intent is, how to say, maybe not, doesn't work for everyone to be selfless, but to be so that there is a detachment there. There is no expectation, oh, I'm doing that for that. But it's more like I'm doing that because it's fun, because I really love it, because it's going to enrich people. Like I'm doing this masterclass now. I know it's going to be great to stay in my library, but I'm doing it because I really love to show more people how to live as themselves. You know, I don't really mind if I don't have another client for human design readings ever again. You know, this is not what drives me. The minute that's what drives me, I become bitter because I am not getting any response, or if I'm not getting the response I need, because even when we are getting response, the mind always wants more. So we can really never satisfy the mind. Once this sinks in, you start noticing how important and what is the beauty of living in your body and listening to it, because the body is your vehicle in that matrix, in that 3D world. So it makes sense to connect to it more. And I think for all projectors, it is a really good rule of thumb to be more grounded and in your body, more embodied. I love those practices, so I have that too in my program, so check it out. Check my body workout. And if you're not yet in my Human Design Goldmine Facebook group, I share there free mini human design readings every Thursday, and you can learn more about human design and enjoy connecting with a like-minded community. So thank you very much for being with me in this masterclass. I hope you learned something new today, and let me know if you did and if you feel excited or inspired to experiment with your strategy in your human design. Thank you. Bye.